Disclaimer. I doesn't claim any of the arts. All the picture shown belongs to the respective artist and company. If you are original owner and want me to remove the video, I will do it immediately. Just send me an email to inform me. And if you like my content, please subscribe to my channel. In the beginning of the episode, Kim is at a place where it is dark everywhere, and Kim thinks about what this place is and where he has come from, as he remembers that he was fighting with Narandra until now. Suddenly, the predation skill, which is a fused with chain skill, grabs Kim and tries to drag him. When Kim gets caught in this thing, the stone skill then attacks Kim, and with chain skill still grabbing him, stones hits Kim, and they make him cough up blood, and blood starts coming out of his mouth. Kim thinks that chain, stone, paralysis, all of this is his own skill, so why is it attacking him? What on earth is happening? We then see that the Knight's King spirit skill suddenly gets activated and starts causing a lot of pain to Kim, and he is screaming in pain. He thinks with himself that all these skills are his, so what is happening here? Then we see an eye coming, which is made of the predation skill's vines, and it laughs and then asks Kim that he thinks these skills belong to Kim. Since when were they ever your power? Kim, with fear in his eyes, looking at that eye, and wonders what is going on right now. We then see that while monsters come out of the predation skills, I says to Kim that if you're eaten, you've got to give what you've consumed. Then we see monsters while their mouth is open to eat. They are coming close to Kim, and as it approaches him, everything blacks out and Kim's eyes open, and he finds himself on bed. As he opens his eyes, he thinks that he was dreaming. Kim then thinks with himself that no injuries, and even my right arm that had collapsed due to consumption is fine. We then see that his hand, which was broken, has now recovered, and there is player Park with S rank. Park says to Kim, "Oh, you finally awake?" And Kim wonders what is he doing here. Park then tells Kim that there is some food here. Will you eat it? We then see after that, Kim and Park. Both are sitting around the table and are eating. Park says to Kim that this is a house prepared for you by the Association and the Alchemists. It's a response to the so-called terrorist incident. We then see that Park says that thanks to you, Ryohei, who had fallen for the mind's schemes, was arrested, and considering the scale of the terror, many people survived. Many people who were worried about you have come and gone, starting with your family, up to the president of the association. Everyone was in tears. It was quite a scene. Well, initially the medical results showed no problems with your health. I stayed because I was worried the miners' Oregon reporters might interfere. Kim thinks for a moment about what was happened there and says to Park that, but I clearly lost consciousness while fighting Narandra. What exactly happened there? Suddenly scene shifts to Kim fight with Narandra. Bodyguard that was behind Kim laying on the ground, he there sees a person with completely red hair, as if drenched in blood, and wonders what happened. Think with himself that, who is that? It's clearly Taehyun, but not Taehyun. Then he shouts at Kim, "You! What exactly did you do to Taehyun?" We then see that the bodyguard gets extremely scared. As Kim turns back, we can see that the predation skill is activated and a lot of powerful energy coming out of Kim. And just seeing that powerful energy, the bodyguard freezes and starts bleeding from the mouth and faints. We then see that the person inside Kim's body gets disappointed and says that, "Is this already my limit?" And while laughing says, "Can't be helped. For now I'll retreat." Just for now. That thing leaves Kim's body and falls on the ground motionless. We then see Park running there. He goes and grabs Kim, and while he shouts that, "Snap out of it, Kim Taehyun!" Then other people say that all the hostages here are fine, and survivors confirmed. But everyone seems to have just lost consciousness, no life-threatening issues. However, the whereabouts of the other miners or Narandra are still unknown. Park then gets a bit worried and says, "What exactly happened here?" We then see that the East Point building at this point is completely destroyed, with only a few structures remaining intact, and we are back in the present. And we see Kim getting worried by listening to their talks. The Park there says that no matter how many times I asked those people, they were not able to give any answer, as if someone had deleted their memories. Even after questioning the survivors who woke up, they only remember that you tried to stop Narandra, but no one could recall the specific details. It's like something was interfering with their minds. The bodyguard there, while sitting on his bed, also was in a lot of shock, not understanding what is going to happen to him in that place. Park, while leaving his chair, says, "Well, it must be the work of those minor guys, obviously. Anyway, take care of yourself. If more information comes in, I'll contact you." Kim thinks about what was happening and that Narandra's skill is not such that it can control memories or feed them. It's clearly not Narandra's doing. That can't be right. I don't know how it regenerated, but my arm definitely collapsed due to the overuse of consumption. And perhaps Narandra was also affected by consumption. Kim then thinks that at that time his body was quite damaged, and even his hand, which was broken, could not withstand the power of the predation skill and fell to the ground in pieces, and now his whole body has completely healed here. Kim is confident that he had absorbed Narandra using the predation skill. He then thinks about with a pact with the devil that is B-rank skill, and he was told that with its help he can open the door to Abyss once, and for that he needs 200 mana points. And Kim thinks what nonsense is going on. As he thought he would be able to summon the monsters using the skill, he says that opening a gate? Wasn't that a skill to summon monsters? Moreover, with a mana requirement of 200 and my current mana at 180. Suddenly Park comes back and says that there's one more visitor and someone has come to meet you. Kim, by hearing that someone came to see him, surprises. Then we see that it is his classmate Lim Ah-young has come to visit him. By seeing her, Kim surprises. Park leaves the house. Lim, now that she's a A-grade player, says to Kim that she came here to visit the sick. Somewhere in the city, in complete security and peace, in one of the buildings, there is food on the table. But suddenly the basket of fruits is thrown on the food and crushes them all. We see that Kim is very shocked about this, and the one who did this is none other than Lim Ah-young. Lim Ah-young sits down and says that, "I heard you were injured, but you look fine." Kim says that, "Doctor said there was nothing wrong with my health." We see Lim taking a fruit and saying that, "I heard you saved many people in this recent terrorist attack." We see Kim that agrees with Lim and a little confused about this, and then Lim starts tightly squeezing the fruit in her hand, saying that, "Plus, you faced 2 S-rank opponents." But we see that Kim has no answer to give her. Then Lim crushes the fruit with her hand and says that, "But don't get too cocky, all right? I can catch up to you soon enough." We see that Kim has very few words this time. Many apple pieces, as were on his face and body. They all stick to his face. He asks Lim, "What are you really here for?" We see Lim turning her face and saying that, "I'm here for a sick visit." We see that Kim is thinking whether he should call the police or not. We see that Lim is very angry and thinks with himself that, "At first I came because I was worried after hearing you were injured, but you're totally fine. And what's with this incredible aura? This gap hasn't narrowed since the player test. Rather, it has become wider now. Thought you were very injured, but you are completely fine here. And finally, what incredible and dangerous thing is happening with you?" And she feels embarrassed thinking about first player tryouts round. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Lim notices something. There's a sound of footsteps coming. Someone is in the room. We see Kim and Lim looking at footstep sounds direction. They are wondering that who could it be? Person enters in the room. Kim asks, "Who is that person?" By seeing that person, Lim surprises, and we see that person is Lim's sister, Yu Ah-young. By seeing her sister, Yu Ah-young surprises and asks that what he is doing here. We see Lim, who gets angered by seeing Yu Ah-young, and with a shout asks her sister why is Sis in Kim Tae-hyun's house, and first of all, how did you know his home's passcode? Yu Ah-young tells Lim not to call her sis and tell her that, plus, the passcode was provided by the association. By hearing that, Lim, he has nothing to say and remains silent. We see Yu Ah-young smiles dangerously and quickly grabs Kim's hand. Seeing this, Lim gets very shocked and asks what she is doing. We see Yu Ah-young holding Kim from behind, and by seeing this, Lim says to her sister that, What are you doing?" Yu laughs and says that, "What am I doing? 2 S-rank players sharing a house. What kind of relationship do you think?" In middle, this Kim doesn't know what is going on right now, Lim says with a blush on her cheeks. "That's a crime, you know, a crime. Kim Tae-hyun is still a minor." Kim, that is tired of these things, he moves his hand away from Yu, and by doing, Yu Ah-young gets upset. Kim says to her that, "Let's stop the jokes there, player Yu Young. What brings you here this time? If it's about joining the guild, you know I've declined several times already." We see Yu Young saying that, still as prickly as ever. "Today I'm here for a sick visit, just a sick visit. I've also brought a gift this time." By hearing it, Kim surprises. Then she says, "I heard from the chairman. You're aiming for the Asia-friendly games, right? Despite your achievements at East Point, you're still only ranked 30th in public merit. To qualify for the top 5 and represent, you'd need a big score." We see Yu Young putting her hand on Kim's shoulder and telling him that, "So I'll give it to you, Kim Tae-yun, the double dungeon, the Temple of Fire clearance rights." We see a ship coming in the distance at that point, and one person says, "Was that where East Point was?" Other person says, "Yes," and continues, "Although it maintained its structure for a few hours after the terror incident, the accumulated damage was so severe that it eventually all collapsed." We see the vice guild master of the malignant guild, and he's asked about Narandra, but his companion says he doesn't know what happened to him, and still they have no confirmation about him. One of his companions says, "Should I report this to the boss?" The vice guild master says that, "There is no need to. We have achieved the purpose, and after all, he was just a hired gun." However, suddenly a person says to listen up. "You are surrounded." We see that the ship behind the malignant guild master is a very big ship, and there is a person who is the captain saying that this place is accessible only to East Point investigative personnel. Drop your weapons and surrender immediately. Suddenly, water splashes on his face and all the people start drowning in the water. The captain does not know how this happened. We see all the people drowning with the ship, and the vice guild master says, "I find this Kim Tae-hyun rather intriguing." And we see that he made a huge red powerful orb with his power, and because of this, the sea has experienced turbulence and waves. At the next scene, we see the Nightwalker Guild headquarters. Next, we see that all the guild members are cheering, and they are saying that player Kim Tae-hyun is participating in the raid. East Point's hero and South Korea's top prospect. All of them was cheering and saying, "Kim Tae-hyun, Kim Tae-hyun." Kim with Yu was standing on platform above guild members, and he was seeing all of this cheering. Yu says to Kim that, "Naturally, even if we give you the raid rights, item distribution and raid team composition will be decided by us." By hearing Yu Young words, Kim thinks with himself that, suddenly a gift, I wondered what it could be. Who would have thought it'd be the clearance rights to the Temple of Fire? The Fire's Temple, named for the blazing flame-like entrance discovered, the country's second dual dungeon. Before the regression, the Nightwalker Guild succeeded in its raid, but they suffered almost total devastation. Considering the risk, a significant boost in growth and public merit is guaranteed. Perhaps because my right arm had collapsed, my strength and stamina stats have significantly decreased, so I thought challenging this now would be too difficult. But with S-rank player Yu Young in this team, a double dungeon raid like this, it's a piece of cake. There's no way we'll fail. This is the second double dungeon discovered in the whole world, and before the regression of Kim, the Nightworker Guild was raiding it, and after losing a lot of people, they finally completed this raid here, and the public merit points they got were great, and they got a lot of profit. Temple of Fire raid non-participants. Approximately 300 members, and Kim has become like a doll here for some reason. But in this Temple of Fire raid team just has 2 members, and Yu Young is holding Kim's hand and standing with him. And she is very happy about this. We see the members of the Nightwalkers Guild with excitedly saying that, "Looking forward to the double dungeons clear. Take care of yourself, guild leader. Player Kim Tae-hyun, please look after the guild leader." We see Kim telling Yu Young that, "Why are only the 2 of us going to the raid?" Yu Young says to Kim that, "Because it's a date with my babe." And we see Kim thinks with himself that, "I wish everyone else would just disappear." And here this chapter ends. Thank you for watching this video until the end. Support this channel by liking this video and subscribing the channel. And if you want me to recap another manhwa or manga, write its name in the comments section. And if you want to know that what happened in previous chapters, you can watch them in this channel. Stay tuned for next chapters.